Wow, this is Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus WWE Raw. This had been from June 7th, 2021. This is part of Operation Catch Up, which is taking place today. Not squashed tomatoes with just a little bit of sugar because Americans can't handle legitimate spice, but catching up with all of the reports that I'm going to do. Yes, I'm going to knock out all 4 today. Yes, I'm going to do the match review that Lamar Diggs sent me. Yes, I'm going to take a look at the Ugly Ducklings against the Exotic Youth if I have the time. And yes, I'm going to keep up with all my social media posting. And yes, I still have a job to do at 2 o'clock where I look at America's Got Talent. Why? Because apparently God is still mad about the jokes that I made when I was a youth. Tonight's WWE Raw, it's live on the USA Network, live in the sense that it's happening as you're watching it, not live in the sense that it makes you feel dead inside. This is an absolutely horrific show that I hope gets a rating so low that, well, they still won't change anything because that's the way the Mercedes-Benz. We have yet another different announce team, Jimmy Smith, who has the lamest name of all time, with Corey Graves looking actually decent in his suit, and Byron Saxton, who's going, I was the least talented out of Tom Phillips, Samoa Joe, and me, so of course I still have my job. They open with a match, which again, the AEW influence is real, and they've seen the effect that it has on NXT shows, so they open with a match, which I'm not mad about. Number 1 contenders, Tag Team Battle Royal. There was a time where a match like this would have been pay-per-view worthy. Now, it's just a way to kickstart Raw, and I ain't mad about it. We've got the Viking Raiders, the New Day, Lucha House Party, which is Lince Dorado by himself, and John Morrison also. We got T-Bar and Mace, and RK Bro, further side. We go right to the ring. People come to the ring. Out comes the Raw Tag Champions, AJ Styles and Omos, to see what's going on. AJ Styles takes the mic, welcomes the other team to this tag team address. They emphasize that they're going back on the road and they want to see who they're going to defend against. Miz and John Morrison, but Miz is in a wheelchair. Just when I thought, oh great, we're going to have a match, instead it's just a bunch of talk. Stuff happens. This thing goes for a long time. And then the Vikings eventually eliminate Orton, and they get the future title shot. Yes, out of all those teams I mentioned, the Viking Raiders won. So it's great that this show is off to a fantastic stop. And we go, I made my kid laugh, I rule. So we get Nikki Cross's recent Beat the Clock upsets over Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. So of all people to give a push to, now we're going to take Nikki Cross out of the dead pile, not Asuka. Supposedly, according to the WWE themselves, one of the 5 greatest talents in their history in the women's division. We buried Asuka, but now we're going to bring back Nikki Cross. I will say Nikki Cross looks really great. I ain't mad at her. It's just, it is just frustrating. It's frustrating. So DeVille and Pierce end up booking, long and short, Flair and Ripley versus Cross and a partner. Wacky mismatched tag team partners that don't like each other. Yes, Vince Russo rears his ugly head. And because I said Vince Russo, you know what that means. Our bro count is up to 1 for this episode.
Wow.
Bro, that's 2. So I'm mad at Justin Bieber, bro. That's a shout out to the 3 people that will get that joke. And that is bro number 3. Back from the break, Ted DiBiase is there. And he cuts a promo on a big announcement he's going to have for Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, which just goes to show how much that Ted DiBiase $1 Million Man stuff is getting over on NXT, that they have that be the crux of why you should watch NXT. And I ain't mad about it. I wish Raw would help NXT more, though how much help they can give them at this stage is dubious. Viking Raiders are backstage, getting hyped up for their title shot. Ivar is munching on turkey legs because they're Vikings, see?
Yay, Viking stereotype!
AJ Styles and Omos show up, but Omos has a turkey leg and he's munching on it. Oh no. AJ says he doesn't know much about Vikings. He asks if Eric and Ivar are wannabes. Ooh, burn. They have words and the champs back away. Sigh. We have a video package on Alexa Bliss and Lily, which is nice foreshadowing on how they're going to ruin the end of this show. Bliss says the fun is just getting started. Well, I hope it does start. That would be nice. Shayna Baszler will confront them on Alexa's playground later. Elias is in the ring with the guitar in the spotlight. Silliness ensues. He talks about Jackson Riker. Stuff happens. They wrestle each other. Jackson Riker, his new look with the shorter hair, I think actually looks good on him. And Elias eventually leaves, and Jackson Riker wins by countouts. The push that is only a push with 2 tips of a pinky instead of the whole hand, but Jackson Riker will take it. Riker has his arm raised, and he's not happy about the countout win. Hey, you are all of us, Jackson Riker. You are all of us. We look back at last week's #1 contenders match between Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston, which Drew McIntyre won. Yay. Out comes Drew McIntyre for the Hell in the Cell contract signing. Ooh, contract signings. My least favorite trope. Fans cheer McIntyre as he carries his sword to the ring. What? Pyro happens. McIntyre sits there. Stuff happens. Long story short, in a pay-per-view called Hell in the Cell, named after a match, where they're signing a contract for a title match, they don't have a big enough feud to completely justify it. So Drew just asks at the end, hey, I want the match to take place inside Hell in the Cell. Okay. So it happens. Not to settle some blood feud, not to do anything other than, well, we have a match on the pay-per-view named Hell in a Cell, so we have to have a Hell in a Cell match. Exciting. #1 contenders match, Ricochet against Humberto Carrillo, in a match between 2 guys that can't believe they made the cut of the recent firings. Out comes poor Sheamus, who got his nose broken legit. It ends up the baby faces kind of act like heels by making fun of the heel who is legitimately injured. It's weird. They both get counted out. It's a draw. Wow. This is a show that is so middle of the road. They're going to get brake dust on them. It is terrible. Sheamus starts laughing. He stands up and he mocks them. And then the referee checks on the 2 fallen competitors, neither of whom won. New Day's backstage. Long story short, MVP and Bobby Lashley are there making fun of Kofi for losing. Kofi wonders why Lashley does this. Does he do it for money? No, MVP says Lashley does it for the WWE title. Okay. A new Evolution vignette. Yeah. Riddle versus Kofi Kingston is announced for later. So again, using one half of the show to promote the other half, setting up nothing for future shows. Terrible. Mansoor, terrible name, is backstage warming up. Mustafa Ali, wearing a suit, shows up and said he heard Mansoor has a match with Drew Gulak. It's terrible. Jeff Hardy against Cedric Alexander. Between 2 guys who perennially lose. This is a tough call because they have been burying Jeff Hardy for months, having him lose match after match after match because his brother's in AEW. I don't know what the rationale is. But he clearly needs to win. But Cedric clearly needs to win. So that gives this match a sort of weird urgency because you have two guys that have been losing for a long time, and you're wondering who's going to come out on top. And they wrestle a great match. To their credit, Jeff Hardy and Cedric Alexander, total pros. And the end of the day, Jeff Hardy wins with his finisher, and that's that. Rhea Ripley's backstage warming up. Charlotte Flair approaches. They do an annoying promo. We have the tag match between those two ladies, Nikki Cross, and who's the surprise partner? It's Asuka. Of course it is. They don't have anybody else in the women's division. I would expect they got to let, since they're giving Nikki Cross this weird push, I would expect her, I said in my notes, to get the pin. And she does, and not only does she get the pin, she pins the current women's champion. Horrible. So Rhea Ripley, you thought you won the title at WrestleMania and it was going to be amazing, and little did they know they wouldn't let you win a match afterwards. That's not an exaggeration, by the way. It's been almost 2 months since WrestleMania, and Rhea Ripley has lost every match that she has been in. Stunning, stunning. Mansoor, hate that name, against Drew Gulak. Winner, Mansoor. That's all you need to know. Kofi Kingston against Riddle. Very good match, as you would expect. Kofi Kingston manages to win. And Riddle is shamed in front of his friend, RKO man himself, Randy Orton. We get Alexa's Playground. All I can say is go out of your way to watch this. It is one of the most cringeworthy wrestle crap moments of all time. And please, just go watch it. It's no use me describing it to you. There's no way I can do it justice. Just go watch this thing, along with half of India. That's who watches WWE programming at this point on YouTube. You can join them. It will be stellar. And by stellar, I mean it is that awful. You really do need to consume it, though. This has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with WWE versus Raw. And you know what? Normally, I say that as a title because clearly I am the winner because I'm reviewing it, but I gotta say this time I fought the Raw and the Raw won.